believe in ghosts, aliens, witches, the paranormal? Of course you do. You wouldn't be tuned in to the Urban Paranormal Podcast.
Welcome, everyone, to another great episode of the Urban Paranormal Podcast, where you might be crazy to some, but you're family to us. So I am your host, JH.
And I'm your moderator, Trent A. Johnson.
This is your anchorman, Dave R. And last but not least,
filling in today is the show coordinator, the Weatherman.
Hey, what up, Weatherman?
What's going on?
Jay, you know what? As we go on with this show, I'm feeling like a fucking real radio personality.
You know, me too, man.
I know, bro.
Me too.
I hope the feeling's mutual all around the table.
I hope so too. Have you noticed that the weatherman has the tropical sunshine instead of the tropical depression?
Oh, that's cool.
You know, I changed with the weather. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But you don't change on us too much.
You know, you're right, though, about how we starting to, particularly feel.
Yeah.
And it's really cool when, like, people, like before we just regular people, but now people talk to us and they ask us weird shit that they normally wouldn't.
Exactly. And the other funny thing to me is that people think that we are like, what do you call it? Paranormal investigators?
Yeah.
No, we are not.
Right. Paranormal experts and everything.
I know. We can't save you from possession or the devil.
Right, or Slimer.
I know, anything like that.
We can't save you from unidentified deities and other dimensions.
But we could have a good conversation about it.
Yeah, we could talk about it. So when it scared the shit out you,
Right.
you email me and we'll read it. And then we'll talk about it.
Right.
We'll talk about it. And if you get probed, please put that in the email as well, so we can talk about that.
Definitely.
Or if the ghost starts rioting on you, please send it to us too.
Right.
Yes, you guys at home, that's the anchor man.
We might be able to whip him up some cock salad.
So, all right, guys.
Ghosts do not have genital genders whatsoever.
All right,
they are
guys.
not a physical being.
So here we go. What we're talking about today, we're going to talk about some spirits. We're going to talk about ghosts. We're going to talk about
Afterlife.
What
happens when we
die.
Yes.
On this spooky Halloween.
Yeah, on this spooky Halloween. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
So, here's my thing. There have been so many cases of people that have died.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that's obvious, but these people
Everybody
said
does.
right. These people said that they went to the other side.
Wow.
Peeked his head in, looked around, saw that shit that was going on over there, and came back.
Well, Jay, you must have forgot we got one of those guys on this show.
Yeah.
Mr. Romo right here.
Yeah, that's right. He had a
Anchorman?
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a car accident.
He had what is it called?
A T-bone. I was T-boned in a car accident. My life passed, and I actually had a near-death experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Very interesting.
I mean, so you saw the other side?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
How did the other side look?
What did it look like?
Well, to keep for the short story, there is a light. When you get closer to the light, it gets golden. You feel that there's this blanket, feeling like there's gold stuff healing you. All the pain that you're feeling from inside out, like needles and flesh, just tearing you to the point that you can't breathe or suffocate. It all drains away. You can't feel your heart pulse. You feel you basically see the beings in an outline, golden aura light going up to the stairway. Like if there were some family members you haven't seen or friends you haven't seen, you go up to the gates and then there's like this whole endless hallway, and then there's like psalms and cheering and trumpets and horns blowing, and then you see two important people.
Who are those? St. Peter's? He's reading your book of life and type of shit, right? No,
not exactly. Basically, your best friend and the guy who's going to be your advocate, the one that we have been talking about. If you are a Christian if you're in a Christian faith, Jesus is there. He basically hugs you, and then you finally see the main big guy. But the thing is, people have different interpretations who Jesus is. This is just my experience. So
no problem.
take it with a grain of salt.
Okay. And we spoke about that.
Yeah, we did on the previous season.
Yeah. I mean, as far as seeing who you are. like we spoke about Galactus, the guy from Marvel. He's actually a god.
Yeah.
And when people witness him, they see him as themselves.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if he showed up in India, he would look Indian. If he showed up in China, he would look Chinese. So
Yeah.
Is what
David,
you can relate to.
you experienced Jesus.
Yes.
So maybe if a Muslim, would they experience Muhammad or?
According to one friend who is Shia Islam, he said that when he read the text and he was meditating really deeply, he did see Muhammad as his best friend and advocate.
No, I
for
mean,
sure.
as far as like when you have that near-death experience or you actually pass over, you say you see your best friend and you see whatever deity that you
that other person
that you're rolling with.
that you're rolling
if you're
with, yes.
Christian, you might see Jesus.
If you're Muslim, you might see Prophet Muhammad. If you're Jewish, you might see Moses.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I really wonder, like, the truth. Because here's the thing.
That might be the truth.
No, that might be the truth.
Sounds
What I'm
good.
saying, it always happens to me. I don't care what the situation is. For example, I wanted to ride unicorns like you guys. It didn't happen. Okay. In this particular situation, I was in a car accident, a really, really, really bad car accident. And I didn't have none of that. The only thing I had was everything turned fucking white.
Yes.
And then everything started coming into focus a little slower. And then it finally did, to the point where I couldn't hardly see because it was so bright. All right. And that's when I woke up, if that makes sense. I was able to open my eyes. It was a whole week later.
Yes.
It was instant. It was
I felt that too, Jay.
Yeah.
I did. Go on.
No, I'm just saying there was no body outside waiting or I saw anything. It was just white. It just turned white. It was just like almost like if you just would close your eyes.
Well, maybe your experience was different from his. Maybe he was closer to death.
No. Maybe.
Well, everyone's experiences is different, but I want to respect and view his.
No. There was no real experience. That's what I'm saying.
that's
for
what
me,
I'm saying.
It was just like if though you closed your eyes for a little while and then opened them. But it just so happened it was a week later.
So you were experiencing a form of nirvana, weren't you?
He didn't experience anything.
Just white. Just white.
Just white.
It was
Okay.
like it was instant for him, but it was
all right. Yeah, it was. It was right entirely. That's what you said it right. It was instant.
Yeah.
But there's so many other people out there that have had these experiences. Now I've had dreams in that shape and form like you had.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that have went to the other side and they've seen all of these things.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell you what I do know or what I believe.
All right.
The idea and concept of going to the other side, people, you have to be very careful with that. The idea and concept of seeing people that right, that could be a setup. And what I mean is, if there was an evil entity,
Oh shit!
if there was an evil entity, it would look like something that you were familiar with to bait you into moving further and further away from your actual body. Yeah.
Okay, now I believe that when like you're trying to communicate to the other side, you might dial the wrong number and pick up a demon or somebody impersonating as
Right.
a friend or family member. But the whole process of dying and you going to the other side, I don't think an entity like that would have the power to trick you in the spiritual world like that.
Well, I mean,
You know what I'm saying? I don't think so.
Right, that's a belief,
Yeah.
and that's your belief, and I respect it.
Yeah.
I'm saying that there's so many people that will sit down and get what they call inebriated beyond or become unconscious, whatever the case may be. Because remember, it's always a battle for your soul, good and bad. It's very important. Well, the thing is about those so-called evil spirits they never lived here before. So when you're in that state, it's like almost like a dream state. They will coach you, course you, tell you, hey, come to me,
Right.
and they're a family member. The whole time you're moving out with them, right, you're getting further and further away from your body.
But I would think the physical world would be their one chance.
That's it.
You know
and,
what I'm saying?
And that's why they'll move you out of your body, so to speak, and they will replace themselves in your body. Now, the thing about that, which is so weird, is your essence, who you are.
Right.
You know, and that is what's going to get lost in the dark world and probably devoured. And the thing about that, people who like to what do you call it, astroplane?
Astral project.
Astral projection.
Yes.
That's why it's so dangerous, right? Because remember, when you leave your body,
You might come with something back attached to you.
exactly. Once you leave your body, remember, your body and your soul is light, right?
But Jay, I have to say this: the only way that is possible, you have to invite it in.
Right.
You have to, in some way, invite it in. You have to maybe jokingly one day you pledge your life to Satan.
Well,
But it was a joke.
Or perhaps
It
maybe
really
you're-
wasn't a joke.
Or
Right,
perhaps
to the
maybe
spiritual
a
world.
desire or some idea that, you said something pretty deeply or subconsciously, and then you allowed that deity to come
Right.
close to you.
Yeah, we had plenty shows where we done deep research and had experts on. You have to invite
Okay,
that type of stuff
what you
in.
said. Now,
Right.
here's the thing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The problem with today is most people have invited it and don't even know it.
Don't even know it.
They're singing songs.
Chanting
They're doing
songs
different
and-
things of
yeah.
that nature.
Yeah.
So when they
I get
do
it.
go to sleep, it's
get
already
it.
being done.
I get it.
There's altered things in our dreams or in our rationale, so to speak. That's why I would suggest or some people that are religious or spiritual, they would do a spiritual cleanse to make sure that there are no entities trying to distort our conscious or our spiritual being.
Okay, well, look, can we get into a little weird news on this weird ass night before we get too deep? Because it seems like
yeah.
this show is going to be good.
Yeah.
Everybody's already hyped up.
Yeah.
Right. Just to let you know, my experience with the second person after Jesus that I saw in my death and so forth.
He was a clown that raped you or took your
The
family?
clown with the little, underwear riding on a unicorn. You wished, man. But no, we watched too much South Park and we are human beings. But no, the main guy, the big guy, you can call him whatever. I would say I felt his presence. It was a big, huge omni light. He was so fearful and powerful, but he was so loving at the same time. He literally was just communicating telepathically everything. But it was to the point that it was beyond word comprehension, to the point that there was no conflict of argument whatsoever.
Wow.
He was just all reason.
Okay.
And then by the time,
No way you can argue with the big guy.
oh yeah, of course.
Well,
He's the alpha and the omega.
Right.
But the thing is, it was just so blurry in my experience. I couldn't be able to tell you every detail.
Well, here, before you go into that, let me just say this. Let me just answer that.
Just in my experience.
Right, just
you
your
can
experience.
debunk it.
No, I'm not debunking. I can't debunk your experience.
Okay.
But what I will say is this here. I actually had that, what you're talking about. I had that experience, and the thing was, that was amazing to me.
Yes.
That it was nothing but fire. It was
Yeah.
like fire.
Yes.
And the fire actually turned into every living thing I'd ever seen. But I could tell that even though it was fire, it was the back, and the part about that was I could not lift myself off of one knee.
So was it the night we took the brownies?
No.
Okay.
Dear God. But let him finish.
Hey,
I'm just fucking with it because he fucked with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the truth of the matter is that it's so weird, guys, because you don't know me like that. But I'm gonna tell you, after this ordeal, I literally woke up crying.
Wow.
Me too.
I was fucking crying.
And see, that was the question I wanted to ask you. After you seen the light and all of that stuff, how was what was your reaction and everything? How did you feel afterwards?
Man, I felt. Even though it was fire, it was beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It was beautiful, and I just could not believe that I was stuck fucking here, and I could have been there hanging out with the fire.
I felt the same thing too,
He
man.
immediately wanted cock salad. Okay, let's get into the weird news. Let's get
right, go
into the
ahead,
weird
Brian.
news.
Weird news.
Okay, so do you guys know that obviously there's a new race of chickens running around here without wings?
What?
Really?
You haven't heard that we
Tell
have
me
a
more.
chicken wing shortage in the U.S.
No.
Well, I haven't heard it on the news.
Please explain further.
How do we have a shortage of chicken wings and not a shortage of chicken? How does that work?
Oh, well, I can answer that, but go ahead.
Football season.
Okay, break it down, Jay.
Well, they stopped actually really using the people's farms. So they started doing this thing where they took the DNA from the chickens and they only grow the parts that they need.
So they're like growing wings.
They're like growing wings.
And now
no
they can't
head.
grow enough wings.
They're not growing the heads and they're not growing the feet. That's what they was not growing. Yeah.
Wow. So why did they stop growing the wings?
You know what? I don't know.
What I think it is because they want the tasty wings for themselves. And they want us all to have the thighs and the
breast
bust and the butt and all of that shit.
Well,
that was just kind of paranormal to me, man.
It's definitely paranormal.
A shortage
you know.
of fucking chicken wings.
I would say the abuse of science, and this covers environmental science. Trying to deform as many meat parts of the chicken as you may say. I would then say, yeah, it's paranormal because it's psychologically. What are we doing to abuse our farm animals in our own evil intention to profit or capitalize on it?
Well, that's just the key thing, though. With what the scientists are doing now, they've taken the DNA and they're only growing the parts that they need,
of the body that they
need.
can, but they're just capitalizing and causing such consequences.
So you saying the chicken we buy from Popeyes is grown in a lab?
Correct. GMO.
Oh, wow.
Theoretically speaking,
And I can believe that.
I want to
show you
dig deeper to
videos
see if
and
we
that.
can find
Yeah.
more facts on this.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into some other weird news.
Okay.
So we talking about spirits and shit like that.
Ghosts and
and
goblins.
mind reading.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it kind of goes in there a little bit.
Yeah, I like that.
So I recently watched an interview with Jada Pinkett at the Red Table with her mom. Y'all ever
Jada
watched that?
Pinkett?
Yeah, I watched
go
that.
ahead.
Pretty
An
much familiar
entanglement.
with
An
it.
entanglement. Yeah, I saw that.
So with a recent episode, Jada Pinkett and Gwyneth Paltrow were speaking to each other, and they said that if your husband can't read your mind, you should leave him.
Wow.
Okay, that is
So that's why we
absolutely
are
nuts.
out of this. We fucking out of there. Women expect us to read their
mind.
fucking mind.
Okay, that is a
And this-
recipe for marriage disaster
This
right
was
there.
this was sexual. Sexually, Jada Pinkett said that she expected Will to read her mind and know what she wants, and Gwyneth Paltrow agreed with her that men should be able to read the woman's mind. So now, if we get into this argument with our women when we get home or later on, we know why, because they're expecting us to read their mind. When we ask them what's wrong and they say nothing, they're expecting you to read their mind.
Right.
Right there.
That's ironic because I can read my wife mind and stuff. I know she can't stand me most of the time.
well, Trent,
yes.
let me-
I can't read nobody's
Go ahead.
mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well,
David.
Trent, I mean, all of us technically don't have the ability to read, our partner's mind. But if we at least know the behaviors, the likes and dislikes long enough after we ask questions, then it may seem like we can read their minds and we can satisfy them. But the dangerous part, if a man were to, and this is for you women that think us reading minds is a good idea in your marriage.
Or a possibility.
Think about this. Just think about this rationally, okay? There are some things you want private for yourself, for your own security. If your husband knows exactly what you're thinking or feeling at the moment, even some fantasy thoughts, and then he would judge because you had some sort of fantasy of that other person you had in a dream, wouldn't that be a little bit more dangerous to your marital relationship? Just think about it. This is a rhetorical question.
Okay, tell me this, David. So you never knew nobody who wife finished the husband's sentences, the last sentences, or the husband finishes the wife's last sentence.
That concept right there can be dangerous, and it can be toxic towards
if
to
you
both
feed
sexes.
into it. If you feed into it and think that's reading minds, it's not reading minds.
yeah.
It is.
Y'all just been around
each other
Y'all been around each other a long
Now,
time.
Exactly.
Let me tell you, I just had a horrible breakup thing, right?
Right.
And this has been years of shit, right? Of saying, you know what I meant. No, I don't. Say
Yeah.
it. You know what I was,
You're supposed to be reading her mind then.
Right. I was supposed to be reading her mind.
Yes.
Now, when you say what you say, I do a public announcement to let you know how crazy saying that truly is. If you expect us to be able to read your minds, then you have to remember this. So when we're out at the club and we're chilling, and this girl walks up with a come fuck me ass skirt on, with her ass out. And I clearly know what she's thinking. You get what I'm saying?
What
so
women
now
want.
so now I am finna go take that ass because she did that for me.
Right.
Yeah.
Cock salad.
Right. And guess what happens after that? Now y'all gonna call the police on me and
Right.
say this strange man who I don't know.
No, I read her mind.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So you think
Wow.
about that.
Wow. Okay.
Also think about it too. If you had thoughts about trying to kill someone and then you had a thought that you didn't mean, saying that you want to kill or I want to kill somebody, imagine how messed up it would be between your relationship and someone would prejudge you as a psychopath when you're not.
Wow.
What the fuck?
I know. Well, let's look at this.
I know exactly. What the fuck? This is the reason why.
No, why
we
would you come up
cannot-
with that? Why?
We
Why?
cannot, listen, we cannot, this is the main reason why we cannot read each other's minds. It serves a good purpose. That's the point.
No, I know what the point is. The point is he just told us all on air his ass is a fucking killer.
I know, right?
That's what he just told us.
I know, right?
So
You
we
are just taking it way
What
too
he was
theoretical.
just saying, if
Mr.
y'all read my
Gamer.
mind and seen some murder, disregard that.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I just said, theoretically speaking, I am going to strongly state that there's a reason why we cannot read each other's minds because our human brains are so complicated. We cannot be able to distort fact from thought.
I don't know. If that's,
I don't
the
100
reason,
I don't even agree with that because I
What
believe
about
that
the
we're
people
all
who can
connected.
read
Yeah,
minds?
I believe that we're all
Yeah,
connected.
but people who read minds can also abuse and control others.
maybe.
No, that's something else.
Okay, well let's rock into this one.
People with narcissistic personalities
So-
can abuse that.
Okay, so let's rock into this one. A large solar flare erupted Thursday from the sun,
Okay.
and it is set to hit Earth tonight. And it's expected to supercharge the aurora borealis.
Wow.
So it will be visible from places in the U.S. and Europe that it's never been visible from.
That's awesome.
Hubble telescope.
Yeah.
Let's keep peeking.
Hold on, let him finish. Let him finish to see.
All right.
Yeah, and it could cause high frequency radio blackouts, and it could affect some of our small electronic devices.
Okay.
So y'all be ready tonight. If y'all look outside and see a green glow,
Okay.
it's just the aurora borealis.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. So funny, right?
Yeah.
So you guys at home, I know you probably TikTok. So this fucking guy that went on the news and everything, his account, saying that he's a future time traveler. Okay. And one of his predictions was a solar flare was going to come, and 8 people were going to receive superpowers.
Oh wow, one of them is me.
Right. But he said his predictions were at one point, I believe it was like 2 months ago. Then it became last month or this month, whatever. But the funny part is that he did say the super flare, the flare, from the sun.
He predicted it.
He basically, but I don't believe shit he say. But I'm just saying that's kind of funny. So
Wow.
you guys TikToking, just remember that. He did say that shit.
Wow.
So I don't, here's the thing, Trent. That's weird news and it's all great.
Yeah.
But let's hit on these spirits, right?
Spirits, man.
Yes.
Because the concept of a spirit, at least what we've been taught, they're evil spirits, right? And then I don't even know if we ever been taught that they're good spirits.
From what I've learned during this podcast, you have human spirits
Yes.
and you have spirits that never lived.
Right.
Right.
And then you have some spirits that were evil when they were living here on this earth, and they're probably still evil when they carry on to the other side.
Right.
If they are able to carry on the other side, maybe some of them are stuck here
Right.
and still want to see people suffer and
And weird shit like that.
and scare you and shit
well, let
like
me
Or
that.
stay attached to you or be attached to a certain thing like a poltergeist.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's my thing. If the afterlife is true and you can go to the afterlife and move on into a new world, or hypothetically, let's go with the ideal of being reborn again, right?
Yeah.
Reincarnation. Why in the fuck would you stay a ghost and can't do shit? Just look at shit.
Well, I mean, maybe it's some reason you can't move on.
All right.
Okay.
Maybe it's something you didn't finish here on Earth.
Right.
Maybe you didn't complete some shit. Who knows?
Or there is a higher divine power, or God is what you would say, or whoever you might call him, that, you know, you're called to go ahead and intervene in the mortal world to, you know, fix something, you know, to communicate either in a dream or to touch within an essence to, you know, fix some unfinished business. But of course, you know, those people who have unfinished business may not have the right intentions. Like what you say, Trent, you know, there are some that are evil that'll just go into a temporary possession or get into an inanimate object to, you know, play tricks to communicate or something. And that's not always right.
Yeah, or maybe they don't know what the task they have to complete is.
Or maybe they don't know why they didn't go into the spirit world.
And then I've heard some of them don't even know they're dead.
Exactly.
That right there, that is so believable.
Yeah.
Because it's very clear for you guys at home, if a guy pull out a gun and pointed at you, your mind goes, oh no, please. You consciously know that you're at that moment of danger. If you're on an airplane and the airplane is going down, your mind knows. But hypothetically, let's say you and your friend is having a conversation while you're in a car, and another car comes out of nowhere and hits you instantly. You don't know. You had no idea.
Instant death.
It's instant. Yes. Wow. So if it's instant death, right? That happens, and next thing you know, you wake up and you're chilling like, damn, what was I doing? And then you just start walking.
Yeah.
And you don't even know you've been dead and how long that's been. You know what I mean? So I can see the concept of not knowing you're dead.
Yeah.
That's a good way of explaining it, too.
Yeah, you know. So that's, to me, is weird. But here's my thing. I just don't believe that, first of all, I have to say, crossing over with John Edwards. This is a man who spoke to medium. He's a medium. He spoke to people that was dead. But really, would you believe that your grandparents were just sitting here chilling? Just sitting there fucking chilling.
Well, I don't think it would be like they're sitting there fucking chilling. I think it's like people who possess those type of gifts. Now, I don't say that I believe him, but I do believe that there are people that possess that gift.
Yes, I believe that.
And I believe that they're able to tap into that world. And you know what I'm saying? And I think it's like the thing that you like so much, the parallel dimension, is right here, right beside us, but we don't vibrate at the right frequency to access it.
Right.
But he does. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I look at it.
Right. I see what you're saying. And when he say he just said anyone that could talk.
Yeah,
not
he
saying
or
John
she.
Edwards. John
Yeah.
Edwards is fake as fuck.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah. I don't know too much about it.
Oh, yeah. So, but here's my thing, you know, I get it, but it's still kind of one of those things, though, you know, that you kind of, you're on the fence with.
Yeah.
I do know, like, if you're crazy, some of your family does, because we're pretty crazy.
Right. Yeah.
But we have all of these ideas and concepts and beliefs. And the idea and concept of me walking out and saying, possess me, and this evil entity jump in me and possess me, I'm not sure I'm 100% believing it. I'm believing that I am saying, when I say possess me, and then all of a sudden now I'm evil, well, I think what I'm actually saying is, guess what? All the boundaries that I have in my mind to stop me from doing things, I've just released them. I just open them, and I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to say, that's why.
Well, I think you broke it down to me one time, and you was like, okay, Trent, imagine if you're walking and all of these people are trying to talk to you.
Yeah.
And they can't talk to nobody else, but they see that you're the only one that can understand what they're saying.
Right.
So that means everybody else would be attracted to you because you can see them. So I thought about that, and I like, that make fucking sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like and what I'm explaining is like a medium.
Right, a medium, how they can be.
Okay, and these ghosts or spirits or whatever, nobody else can perceive them.
Correct.
But they tap this guy on the shoulder, and he goes, huh? And they're like, wow, he seen me.
Right, which is the
like,
worst
guys,
thing to do.
look, he seen me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then like Cody Warchild said it too. She said she has to ignore them because they come to her so much.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, yeah, see, and now I've been playing devil's advocate, guys, but that's the real deal. The situation, what I mean by that is, it is very true. if that spirit, the spirit is running around, and it recognizes that if you turn, if a spirit walks into a room, and you turn and look at that spirit, and that spirit recognizes you looked at it, yeah,
Nobody else seen it but you.
nobody else seen it but you. That spirit is gonna, like Trent said, it's
Gravitate to you.
Yeah, it's gonna gravitate to you. And it's gonna tell all his friends.
Yeah, he can see us.
Yes, and they're gonna have a whole lot of requests. They want you to do laundry. They want you to talk to their people for them. They want to do, and you'll be being bothered, which is why I always say, that guy that's walking down the street talking to himself, or that woman that's walking down the street pushing the basket talking to themselves,
just might be
dealing with all of those ghosts constantly.
somebody with schizophrenia.
Wow,
Right.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And those people that they put into these mental hospitals.
Yeah.
Okay.
You think that that's what their issue, but on the cool, a lot going into a mental hospital.
And Jay, a lot of experts believe that like people with schizophrenia, they're actually experiencing a dimension that we can't.
I believe that.
I believe that
I believe that too.
Yeah.
I believe it with multiple personality disorder too.
Yeah, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
I believe it with multiple personality disorder.
I've known people with
maybe-
bipolar disorder that have experienced some slight cases too.
Yeah, those some crazy motherfuckers. No, I'm just fucking with you. But
No.
maybe our next guest can help us out with this question.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, guys.
Well, I'm excited. I'm
So-
excited.
We have a treat for you. We have a man that's he's basically a medium, right?
Yeah.
I guess you'd call him, he's a medium. He talks to dead people or whatnot. And he helps you move from one area. If you're a spirit, he helps you move from one area to the next.
I'm kind of scared, Jay.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm excited. I like scary things anyway, right?
Right?
But this guy can also help you people at home with questions and different things that you might have, okay?
Right.
So I tell you what, when we return, right, we're going to get back with this guy, and I'll reveal his name once we come back. But until then, what I want you to do is please listen to the sound drop after me, okay? It's fucking awesome.
Right?
We'll be back.
And maybe the medium can help get D-Ray that cock salad. Hey.
Hearing bumps in the night. Someone cast a spell on you. Do you see dead people all the time? Or even seen a UFO? Well, you might be crazy to some, but your family to us. Send us an email at urbanparanormal13@gmail.com.
And welcome back. As I told you, we have someone that we want you guys to meet. But remember, just in case you missed the first segment, we're really talking about, life after death, and we're talking about spirits. And remember, we're like literally, a countdown, Halloween. All right. So
Yeah.
you guys,
Spooky night.
Yeah. So I would like you guys to talk to someone, or listen to us talk to someone that has more experience in these matters than ourselves. He can give us some answers. Okay. His name is Mr. Daniel Jackson. And he's like, I would say,
Well, let's let him explain what he does.
You're right. Mr. Daniel?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Oh, wow.
We are great.
We're great that you're on the show. Thank you for
Pleased
coming.
to meet you, sir.
Oh, pleased to meet you. I'm glad to be on the show.
So
Honored.
could you tell our listeners at this point, like a little bit of what you do? I know you told me, but I want you to tell them.
Sure. My official title, I am a spirit medium. I don't go by a psychic because when you start throwing that word around, then people want to come up to you and say, "Hey, what am I thinking?" And I don't. Like I said, I don't do any auditions for anybody. I do get psychic messages when I'm about to have a reading with someone, or if I'm standing next to someone. Sometimes messages do come in, but I don't profess myself being a psychic.
Okay.
What I do is I do something called angel readings. I talk to my spirit guides, which are archangels. That's what we refer them to as. But as I've told you, they don't look like men with wings. They're not men with wings. They don't have swords. They don't have shields, and they're not fighting a battle in heaven. But I speak with them because of my main ability, which is I cross spirit over into the light. And because I do that, I have to answer questions through those spirits because sometimes they ask things. And so I have to get answers from my spirit guides who I communicate with. And the reason I have them is for a couple of reasons. One, so I can answer all those questions. And two, they protect me from all the negative energies so that I can cross over these positive energies that want to go. So I'm able to talk to them and they talk right directly to me. I either get yes and no answers on my forehead or I just get a thought into my mind. It just comes right in. And then I ask them a question about that thought and they answer me again with that yes or no answer just to make sure of that was what they told me. Mm-hmm. And then I tell spirit that. Well, since I can get answers for spirit, because they ask me just about everything, I can get them for people who are here as well.
Okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. Well, Mr. Jackson, I have a question for you right off the bat.
Sure.
When did you realize you had this gift?
I've always been able to see spirit my entire life. Since I was 3 or 4 years old, all the way through up until before I turned 50 years old. I've seen them. I see them just as plain as you see regular people sometimes. I see them, but I did not know that I was this until about 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
I will do readings for people, and they will ask me questions about their mom or dad or whoever, and then turn around after that and say, "Where does spirit come from?" And I said, "How can you ask me that? You just asked me to talk to your mom and dad, but you want to wonder where spirit come from?
Wow.
You have one inside of you.
Okay,
that's where they come from."
I got a question. Okay, you said you have guardian spirits. What did you call them? Guardian spirits?
Guardian angels.
My
spirit guides.
Spirit guides.
Spirit guides. Yeah. Okay, does everyone have a spirit guide?
Everybody has spirit guides. Everybody basically has two. Okay, you always have two. When you come out of the womb, you have two with you.
Okay.
You have a male that's with you that helps you with more of the making of the more masculine type decisions in your life, and the female is with you with more nurturing type decisions. And spirit guides are people who have crossed over, who have fulfilled their purpose, and then want to come back because souls like to do good things. And if you have fulfilled your purpose, that means you don't have to come back into a body again. But sometimes, like I said, they like to come back and help other people, so they just get assigned to another person. Or if it is somebody who may have passed away in your family that wants to come back and be a spirit guide for somebody in the family, it may be your mom or dad may come back for you or one of your brothers and sisters. But it just depends on it's because, again, just like going into heaven, it's their choice.
Okay, well, let me ask this. Will us as living beings someday become spirit guides?
If you want to. Again, it's your choice.
Okay.
But in order to do that, you have to fulfill your purpose.
Okay. Well, I want
that segue right into a question.
Well, here go the thing. I want to before the purpose. I want to say this here. I want to ask you this or tell you this, and you can tell me if it's right or not. Forever since I was a child, a very little kid, I was always told this, that you live and you die. And when you come back, it's because you didn't learn something that you were supposed to. And okay. That's what I was told. And that you died many times learning.
Everything you do in your life is a lesson. If you pick up a towel and you put it down, that's a lesson. If you pick it up and drop it, it's just another lesson. It's not a good lesson or a bad lesson. It's just a lesson. And that lesson is learned if you pick up the towel the next time and hopefully you grab it or grasp it in a way that you won't drop it the next time.
You learn the lesson that you were supposed to learn picking up that towel.
Right. Well,
exactly.
Here's a good way to learn, thinking about lessons and people who learn them and people who don't. If you walk through a doorway and there's a nail in the floor and you walk through and you trip over the nail, to learn that lesson, you would go get a hammer, bang that nail in, and then walk through that door freely for the rest of your life. But as we know, there are some people in this world who can continue to trip over that nail 4 or 5 times before they learn that lesson. I understand this very much so because I worked in prison for 6 years and I worked in medical and I was around a lot of the prison inmates. And those guys there have not learned to learn their lessons. They haven't figured out that they're not good criminals and haven't learned the lesson yet. So they need to learn that lesson and hopefully never have to go back there again.
It's like breaking the cycle.
Absolutely.
So what I was told that was correct then. That means that they can return back to learn a lesson that they didn't learn before.
No, you like I said, everything you do is a lesson. It's not good or bad. It's just a lesson. There's no epic failures. There's no right and wrong. There's no mistakes. There's only two things in this world: what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And if it doesn't work, just quit doing it.
It's interesting that you would bring that up because on our last show we spoke about the human experience.
Sure, what you're doing right now.
And we came up with the idea that the human experience was just that. We're here to experience things and learn from them for another life. Is there any truth to that, if you know?
That's the half of it.
Okay.
The half of it is you are in this human experience because in order for the soul to be here, the soul has to be in a physical body to learn these physical lessons. And that's why you're here for that. But that's only the half of it. The other half is you fulfilling your purpose. Okay. And your purpose is not becoming a doctor or a lawyer or even a football player or a basketball player. Mm-hmm. You will fulfill your purpose, hopefully within that, but you can just fulfill your purpose while being in your life. Wow. And that's it. And your purpose is we are here to help each other, but just for the sake of helping it, just because you can, just because you should, not just walking through a door and saying hello to someone, but actually physically helping someone. And someone's going to come up to you in your lifetime and say, hey, I'm lost. Can you help me? Exactly. And it's up to you to use your free will to decide whether or not you're going to do that. Now, maybe there are some people out there who just hate the world and hate life and hate people altogether. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. They will go through life just like anybody else does, because we all do. And at the end of that life, that they will be remaining on the alternative path. Wow, and then that will just have them come back again.
Okay.
But we all come back over and over and over again a bunch of times because they want us to fulfill this purpose a lot. Yes. But we can't always do that because life just kind of gets in the way. So, and we would think, 10 or 15 or 20 times might do it. But I do readings for people and they've been back here 25, 26, 27, 28 times. Wow. Does that sound familiar to somebody? Yeah. And you come back over and over again until what you're doing is you're punching your dance card, and you're doing that enough times that when you finally go back another time, they may tell you, hey, guess what? You did it enough. You don't have to go back. Or, well, you made some turns and you went off your path a little bit and you got to go back again. But you as a soul who likes to do good things is saying, okay, this is great. I get to go back and do these physical things again because I get to do that. But the thing about that is you may come into a time when there isn't any cars. I mean, if you've been here 28 times, there's many other times that there was no cars. There was not a lot of anything, So, but you got through it. But you're just back again. That's all.
Well, I like how you use me as an example there. So, but here I want to ask you a question. I want you to walk everyone through. So,
sure.
I want you to walk us through a situation wherein you have to basically speak with the spirit or talk with the spirit to cross over the other side. Could you tell us a story of that nature? Mm-hmm.
Sure. In the very beginning for me, my spirit guides would bring them to me. And a lot of times the ones they're bringing to me are the lost souls, the ones who don't know they have passed away, or they decided not to cross over at the time of their death, but now have made a choice to cross over. So they would bring them to me and I would talk to them. They would let me know that one is here. So they would start touching me, and I would ask them a series of questions. Do you have a message for me? Is there something I can help you with? And I eventually came to that point. Wow. I would ask them, is there something I can help you with? Mm-hmm. And then I'd get another touch and I go, okay. And that always meant for me talking to them saying, is there a spirit here I can cross over? And they would tell it that I get a yes answer. So they would touch me for a yes answer because I get different answers for yes and no. I get a tear that runs down my side of my eye. That's it. And that is a no answer. But if I get touched on my forehead at any spot, because I get touched by different angels, that's a yes answer. So I would say, okay. And I'd say, is it here now? Yes. Okay. And then I would go put myself in a nice dark room, close my eyes, and then I would see that soul in front of me. And then I would talk to it. And I would ask, do you want to cross over? Because I always ask that. Reason being is because not all of them want to cross over.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just don't understand what it means at that point. So I will go through the whole process with them. I will tell them, you can cross over into the light. You will be with all your friends and family, everyone you've ever known who's ever passed away. They're all just there waiting for you. But you have to want to go. And it's all up to you. It's your choice. I can't make you go. But if you want to go, you can. And if they look at me and they say yes, or they just nod their head, I will say, okay, all you have to do is walk up to the light, move into the light, and pass through the light, and you shall be received into heaven as one of God's children, because God wants all of his children. It's time to go home, children. It's time to come home.
Okay.
And then I would say out to all the other ones, if there's anyone else who can see me or hear me, it is time to go home. And then next thing I know, being in that dark room, I just start seeing them lining up.
Follow that dude.
And I see them by hundreds of them, thousands of them lining up. Okay. And I just call them in and I tell them how to get there.
I'd like to ask you, what would you have us address you as? Daniel, Mr. Jackson, what would you have us address you as?
You can just call me Daniel or Dan.
All right. Okay. Okay, Dan.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced? Well, let me start. Let me ask it like this: is a ghost a thing? A human spirit that's trapped here, in our realm, in the physical realm, is that a thing?
No, no one's trapped here.
Okay.
No, you have a choice. You either cross over into the light or you don't, and you made that choice to either stay here or not and cross over. It's always your choice. No one is banished here. No one is judged and then put here. It's always your choice. You still have free will.
Okay.
And even though you are here, if you stay here as an earthbound spirit, you can at any time cross over if you want to. But in order to do that, you have to let go of all your pain, anger, sorrow, grief, guilt, all those things that you learned how to have here, because you learned them all.
So
you didn't come into this world.
So earthbound spirit is a thing. What we call
Absolutely.
a ghost. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, my next question is, okay.
But even the ones that cross over into the light are also spirit as well.
Okay.
What you would call a ghost. If you would see one of those, it's different. And I can guarantee everybody here has seen one or two in their lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
If you've ever been out in a crowd of people and you see somebody in that crowd and they just turn around, look at you and smile, and then you look away for a second and you look back and they're completely gone again and you don't see them ever, you just saw a spirit. That was somebody who came from the light side and crossed back over, because when they materialize here, they look more closer to being human. They're still a little bit different. They're still a little bit like not transparent, but you could just tell it's just off a little bit. But they have enough energy to come back through in that manner.
Okay.
The ones who are here, they are more like translucent, transparent looking.
Okay, and that brings me to the next part of my question. Okay, so we had on this show, we had a couple of mediums, paranormal investigators, and supposed psychics or whatever. And we talked.
I love the paranormal investigators because the reason being is because they are on the outside looking in.
Okay, and
I'm on the team.
Okay, and so we talked a lot about Ouija boards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't do it.
Okay, that was my question.
I strongly agree.
Are there any dangers in
Absolutely.
the Ouija board?
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of them say that, okay, they're communicating with dead human spirits, but a lot of people told me that it could actually be a demon masquerading as a human spirit? I know that's a little dark, but I'm going there.
Daniel, go.
Yeah, I see exactly where you're going. So, is there demons? No. Is there devils? No. Are there dark energies or negative energies? Absolutely, there are. That is not intended to be a game. That was created with the intention of bringing through negative energies.
Okay.
And what you're doing at that point is you're messing with something. It's like if I were to stand next to you and I was a pilot of a plane and you were just hanging out and you were the guy who stands out with the markers and moving the plane, and I said, "Oh, here you go, Junior. Take these people to Atlanta, Georgia," and gave you the keys. You wouldn't know what to do. You'd be messing with something you shouldn't be doing. You'd be outside of your lane.
Okay.
And that's what you're doing with a Ouija board. You're going because you don't know what you're doing. You're going to possibly invite a negative energy to come through. Now, here's the bad thing: if it's your house and you're doing it in your house and everybody else is just playing along, guess who gets the negative energy to hang around?
Right.
You.
Yeah.
Because it came through your house.
Okay, so you call it negative energy, but you said it wasn't a demon.
Yeah, there's no such thing as demons. And here's the thing about negative energies, just like positive energies.
Right.
They can read your thoughts. They can read your mind. So everything you're thinking about, they can pick up on because that's how they communicate. That's how you will communicate at some point. Even if you're meditating, that's how you sometimes can communicate with them as well. They'll come into your mind and you'll have a conversation in your mind and you'll come out of meditation like, what the heck just happened? I think I was talking to somebody. Well, you were, because that's how you originally communicate. Right. You just do it here because, we have a voice box here because God gave us an ability to make sound. He didn't create words. We created words. So you can say any word that you want to. It begins with the letter F that doesn't sound like fire truck, and he doesn't really give a crap as long as you're not putting negative energy out there or on somebody. You can say some bad words, but if you're putting it on somebody, he doesn't want us to do that because that's negative energy. But yeah, these negative energies, they can read your mind. They can read your thoughts.
Yeah.
So if one of these comes through and it moves something and it scares you, and you think it's a demon, and then you think of what people said demons are in your mind, it can read that, it can pick up on it, and then because it is pure energy, it can manipulate itself to look like that. And then in turn, that scares the crap out of you. In turn, you produce negative energy, and in turn, that's what they feed off of. And that's why we have so many of them around.
Yes.
Because as long as we are putting out negative energy, that's why you're going to have one around you.
Daniel, I couldn't agree more.
The only way you can make it go away is by thinking about positive things, because they don't like to be around positivity. It's like two magnets that just can't hold the same space.
So what about orbs? Or orbs, ghosts, or spirits?
Oh, orbs. Yeah, orbs. Everybody has an orb. That's the color
no,
of your
not
soul.
aura. Orbs. Orbs.
Yes.
Oh, light orbs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You want to see a lot of light orbs? Man, you should. I had a paranormal group come here to my house when I first found out about me, just trying to find out about me. And they took like 20-something pictures of me walking around the house with each member of the team. Each member they took a picture of, nothing. Every time I was standing around them, there's like 15 or 20 light orbs completely surrounding me.
Well, that's the whole reason why me and Jay started this podcast, because we've known each other since we were, teenagers. And
you've known each other longer than that.
Huh?
You've known each other longer than that, because this is not where you come from. You come from there.
Wow.
You're just here, living in another life. I mean, Jay's been here 28 times.
Wow.
He's not. You know what the cool thing is about when you go to heaven? You don't just run into the 200 or 300 people that you met here. Yeah. You know everybody.
Wow.
And when I mean everybody, right now there's 7 billion people on the face of this earth, and there's others that are up there. Wow. You know every single one of them, because we are all brothers and sisters, and we are all children of God.
You know,
and that's what I was just saying. The reason why we started this paranormal podcast, because when me and Jay were like 16 years old, we had a paranormal experience together. We were walking down the street in broad daylight, and an orb passed between us in the broad daylight, and we seen it plain as day. We didn't know what it was back then,
Right.
But, you know, as we got older, we started watching TV shows like Paranormal, and we was like, oh, hey, man, that's what we seen back in the days.
Yeah, I see more spirit in I see more spirit in one day than those guys see in an entire season.
Wow.
I see so many spirit in the daytime.
Yeah.
It's like being in a room with 1,000 people, except nobody leaves and more people just keep coming in.
Holy moly.
I can't even look into I just have to look, you know, I just walk around just trying to, you know, I can't pay attention to too many things. Like I can't look into a darkened TV for too long.
Wow.
If I do, I start seeing people. My wife and I were just watching TV and the TV went blank for a minute. And when it did, I saw a man and a woman standing in there making out.
Is that like the Black Mirror?
Yeah, sort of thing. But I mean, if I look at a wall, if you look at a white wall, you see a white wall. I don't. Yeah. I see a white wall and I see blue mist in my regular vision. So what I'm actually seeing is energy the whole time. Yeah. So if I stare at the white wall too long, then I will start. I'm like I'm doing right now. I don't want to even do it because I start seeing faces. I start seeing everything. But like I was telling Jay, I don't see just people. I see dogs and cats and horses and cows and fish and giraffes and you name it. If it has a soul, I see it. So if when I go outside at nighttime, you look up at the sky at nighttime, what do you see?
I see stars. I see darkness.
Yeah, I don't. That went away like 3.5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
All I see is a blue-black sky. I see the moon, a blue-black sky, and I just see energies in the sky. But then when it's really dark out at night, I see energies walking around everywhere. I mean, so I see people. I was just out riding my bicycle because I ride it at nighttime, and I see people walking around me the whole time.
Wow. I wish I could see that.
No, you don't.
I do.
Because when I close my eyes at night, you know what I see? More people.
Wow.
So I have to take a lot of medicine to go to sleep at night.
As long as it's not scary. As long as it's not scary.
Or at least it's not some demon.
I see the scary ones as well, but I know what they are.
Wow.
And since I know what they are, I mean, you could walk around the street and be around 150 or 250 people at one time, and one of them may be a murderer, but you don't know. They're just a person.
Yeah. Right.
You know, because the one thing I know what they are. I see what they're actually red. That's what color they are. And again, they will make those nasty faces. They say nasty things to me. But as long as I remain a positive person, they don't want to come near you if you're positive.
You know, I'm glad you said red, because when you said what you see, what I see is so horrible to me, because I used to write about it all the time too. When I see the moon, but the moon is a funny looking, but it's still the same, but it's still funny. But everything else, where we see all this blue, is all red, and where we see vegetation and the trees, is none of that. It's all just with no greenery or no nothing. Everything seems dead, and I see people, but they're not people. They're like silhouettes of light.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how I see people or things every other day or so. You know, it's like when I first wake up and I look at things and stuff, that's how it looks.
Oh, I wake up in the morning and there's like 10 or 15 people standing in my room.
Oh, wow.
It's great, but you just it's like you get used to it. It's like, you remember when we were all kids and mom and dad stuck green beans in front of your face, and now 30 years later, we're all eating green beans?
Right.
Because you got used to it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all.
Well,
let me
ask you this, Dave.
You get used to it. Sure.
Okay, are there certain people who are chosen to see things like this, or certain people that certain entities gravitate to? Because I think I've had that since I was a kid, and I chalked it up to being, my parents called me scary. I never wanted to sleep in my room by myself at night because I felt like I could see shit that other people couldn't see.
Well, I have two answers for you.
Okay.
Same answer I gave Jay.
Okay.
And Jay's probably now knowing
my name is Trent. My name is Trent, by the way. I'm the moderator.
Well,
of the
Trent,
show.
You're in for a big surprise. But Jay and I talked the other day, and I revealed something to him. And Jay, you know what I'm talking about, and Trent has the same thing. So, but anyway, so and now Jay's right there, probably smiling, going, "I know what it is, but I'm going to wait till Daniel's going to tell him." So, no, is actually anyone chosen? No, it's not chosen. You just have everybody comes into this world and has this ability, but sometimes that ability fades away because we are taught the ways of the world. But for some people, it is meant to stay with them.
Okay.
So so each person that comes in with that has that with them every single time they come through, because as we know in this world, some people are meant to be teachers and other people just aren't.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there are some that it comes through with your soul, and you just come through, and sometimes you're woken up and sometimes you aren't, or sometimes they try to wake you up and then you push against it and you don't want it this time, and because it scares you or something, and then you push away from it and then it goes away.
In other words, everything has its reason, but go on.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And this is like I was telling Jay, this is not an easy life. This is a life of excluding yourself from people.
Yes.
You are not going out in large crowds of people anymore because you can't stand to be around their negative energy anymore.
Wow.
That's how I feel like in this world too. You know, it's like always a building block pattern of learning and discovering for yourself, possibly like enlightenment or ascension. But I know it's far from the Christian teachings that we are taught.
Right.
Well, that's because Christian teachings are bullcrap. That's why.
Oh, wow. I'm not the only one who thought that. Sorry, guys.
I'm sorry. With Daniel, Mr. Daniel, here's the thing. We have to pay some bills. So we're going to return, right, in just about 5 minutes or whatever. And we're going to let everyone, you guys, you heard Mr. Daniel Jackson. We'll return back with him with some more questions and everything once we return. Okay.
And we'll come back with Trent's big surprise.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So you guys at home, we'll be back right after this.
You are listening to Season 2 of the Urban Paranormal Podcast.
What's up, man? It's your big brother K Reno, and right now y'all are checking out Urban Paranormal Podcast. Yeah.
Brought to you by DSB Media.
Welcome back, audience. Now, we left you, right, with the wise
Cliffhanger for me.
Yes, with the wise teachings of Mr. Daniel Jackson, who's a medium, and he's still here with us. And he had this big surprise to tell Trent exactly what Trent actually is. Besides crazy, you know. But even still, he's still one of us. So, Mr. Daniel.
Yes, he is still one of you. He's still one of us.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another reason why the two of you saw something together, and that's part of it as well. While we were off air, I was asking some questions for myself and got the answers. And the main reason that they saw it together at the same time is because there's a big misconception in this world about something that they call soulmates. And soulmates are not exactly people that you fall in love with. That's probably about maybe 10% of it.
Okay.
But
Don't
soulmates,
tell me this guy's my soulmate.
well, there's a thing about that.
I want to hear this guy out.
Soulmates are, a soulmate is a soul that you work well with or were just very close with back home, okay? Because this is not where we come from. That's home. And that's who, and the two of you meet up again here. But soulmate is not, like I said, it's not necessarily a love connection, because that's a big misconception. That's just something a bunch of people want to tell you just so that you'll keep coming to them and you can pay them a whole bunch of money. And that's a big shim sham right there.
Right.
Soulmates are not just your mom. A soulmate may not just be somebody you fall in love with, but it could also be your mom and dad. Could be your brother. Could be your sister. Could be a dog. Could be a cat. It just happens when it's supposed to happen. In which this case, it could be your best friend.
So this podcast may very well be both of our callings.
Right.
Absolutely. But that's part of your calling.
Wow.
The other part of your calling, Trent, is the same thing that I told Jay yesterday. The reason that you see things and hear things, feel things, sometimes smell things, the reason why you pick up on these things is because you also have an ability also.
Okay.
that mediumship ability that you just have not moved forward with. You are a untrained medium. You are what I call 1 foot in and 1 foot out.
Oh, wow.
You haven't gone and accepted this ability yet because you weren't really aware of it because you just didn't put 2 and 2 together. That's why.
I kind of was, but I didn't know how to. I don't know how to use it because it was like certain things I would just know, and I would not know how I knew them.
You knew them because you just do, because your spirit guides are connecting with you, telling you these things, and they just come into you as your natural thoughts. That's the same way that I get my messages. I'm just getting them from a little bit of a higher source. My light is super bright. That's why they see me. Well, with you and both you and Jay, your light also is brighter because spirit sees our bodies, just sees the frame, and then it sees your light inside of you. With me, they don't even see a frame, just light. That's it. But with you guys, they see your light. It's brighter than other ones. And those other souls who are just like you, but they pass away, pick up on that. And because they pick up on that, they come around you more.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now you will have an ability to speak to them and know things. Or everybody who has these abilities, some of them have the same stuff, some of them have different stuff. It's just all a matter of working with it and finding out how it works for you. But again, that's a step you have to take of taking like that red pill, blue pill, and deciding whether or not you're actually going to go into this life. But this life, like I said, is very secluded. It's about making a choice whether or not you're going to have that sit down with God or the higher power and talk to him and either accept this and move forward or just let it remain as it is. But if you do accept it, then you are accepting the responsibility of using it, of what it's for.
Okay.
Well, not just having it to have it.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you, you say you help the dead move on. Do you help the living in any way?
Absolutely. Like I do readings for people, and they come to me and they ask me questions, and I get answers for them that help them move forward in their lives. Okay. And you can do that. You can do that as well. Sometimes spirit may come to you and ask you to give a certain person a message.
Okay. Well, how can someone get in contact with you if they have a problem?
They can. The best thing to do, like I did, is I reached out and tried to find as many people out there like myself. There's festivals to go to. There's other mediums out there. Some of them will take on people who to be like a mentor. I actually have a mentorship program on my website that they can get a hold of me if they wanted to.
And what's that website?
Yes, this is your plug. This is your plug. What's your website? Oh,
my website is www.spiritmediumdaniel.com. It's one long word, Spirit Medium Daniel, and they can book a phone call on there with me. So because as soon as I get on the phone with them and I start asking questions, I'm going to know whether or not they actually have a gift or not. Some people think they do and they don't, but because they may have something else. They may be just an empath or something similar to that. Okay. But to have this mediumship gift, that's a totally different thing, and that's a whole different deal of acceptance right there.
Wow. Okay.
Because when you accept that, you're accepting yourself as that, and then you're going to come out to other people as being that. It's almost like someone who would be coming out of the closet and saying, I am this. Well, you're going to do the same thing. And then, but when you do that, people will look at you differently.
And where are you located, Dan?
I'm in Delaware right now.
Okay.
But in about a month, I'm going to be in Arizona.
Okay.
Nice. Cool. So you guys, you hear that, he's readily available. And he has a sponsorship situation here where you can have a reading done. Okay.
Yep. You can just call me. You can set up a meeting with me, and that would be a free call. And then we could just talk, and I would let you know what you need to do at that point if you wanted to do the mentorship program or not, or I could just. If you don't want to do that and you're just still interested in it or trying to get your gifts to move somewhere, then I can point you in the correct direction because, again, we're all just here to help each other. So why not?
I got a question for you. It's kind of out of left field. It's on the subject of witches. You ever heard of those guys? Or girls?
Yeah, I just talked to some lady today and she told me her idea of what a witch was. And I said, yeah, no, go away.
Okay, can you tell me your idea of a witch? And is there any danger of being in the vicinity or being with a witch or having a witch or as a friend?
Well, here's the thing. Witches are people back in the day. One of my previous lives, I was a witch, or what you would call a warlock. Okay.
Right.
But what a witch is someone, again, right now, I would be, by their terms back then, I would be considered a witch right now.
Okay.
For the true reason, because I speak the spirit.
Mm-hmm. But that's not a true witch, though.
Right. Well, that's a true witch. A true witch is able to speak with and communicate with spirit.
Okay.
Okay.
But
and the thing about that is religion, they don't want anybody speaking to spirit because it says on page 6 or 7 of the Bible that you're not allowed to talk to mediums, and anybody who is a medium is talking to demons and devils and all that stuff. Again, they just tell you that stuff because they want to tell you how to live your life the way they want you to live it and give them 10% because somehow they knew about 10% back then. But so true witches are able to communicate with spirit. But what they also did were they would use certain ingredients here and there to put things together for healing purposes.
Okay.
So what they were the unconfirmed doctor. But what happened is religion came in, and you don't want to be called a witch. It's not something cool to be called. They think it is now, but being called a witch back then is the same thing as getting a scarlet letter. You were branded something horrible, and everybody treated you horribly.
Okay, well, what about ritual?
Same thing. They're messing with things that they should not be messing with because they are inviting negative energies to come through and then get attached to them.
Okay. Okay.
You don't want to
because we had
a
lot of witches on this show.
And, they are liars.
And my direct question to some of them was, do you ever have to access the dark side? And they none of them ever answered the question directly.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I consider a lot of them friends, and I just wanted to know, was there any danger there for me?
There is danger to it because they don't know what they are doing. None of them. I don't care if they say they are a good witch or it's all about the nature and all. They don't know what they are doing.
And that was my whole understanding of the thing. That people,
people
don't know.
They are messing
doing.
with something they should not be messing with because then they are inviting negative energies to come through. And then someone who is not protected, who is not grounded. I'm protected wherever I go. The archangels protect me. I could walk into any haunted house and nothing can get near me because I see it all the time and they can't get near me. But someone else, the average Joe who does not know what they are doing, can get something in there and mess with them horribly.
Yeah.
Wow.
And these people need to stop professing that they are witches and get away from that altogether because they do not know what they are doing.
Okay, Daniel, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I do need to ask this follow-up question.
Absolutely. Ask me questions. Let me hear those stories.
Of course. I'm going to try to be quick about it. Is there a way to kind of purify, cleanse yourself, or try to get yourself aligned back to the way you are if you do encounter a witch and you have this communication with them and so forth, just to protect yourself?
Sure. So what you need to do is you need to ground yourself, work on grounding, and you can Google that as well.
Okay.
Grounding is you want to get with nature itself. You want to, if you have a tree or a running stream around near you, or ocean water.
Gotcha.
You want to be near that. You want to sit on the ground with your back to the tree.
Gotcha.
And take a knife that's made out of steel. Put that in the ground, hold on to it, take your shoes and socks off, put it in the feet in the dirt, and just sit there for a while and let the pure energy come in back into your body, as well as working with crystals and certain type of other stones as well.
Gotcha.
You can, grounding is the best way to do that, and meditation, and just being a positive person. Absolutely, just being a positive person, doing positive things, and and thinking about positive things, and that will keep the negativity away from you. You can't do the smudging. Smudging does not work. Again, this is stuff that's brought out there that is just not real. Smudging, spirit is in a realm. They don't have a body, means they don't have lungs, means they don't breathe, because they don't sleep, eat, breathe, none of that stuff. So you can burn that stuff all you want to. The only thing you're going to do is set off your fire alarms. They can't smell it. So it's not going to work.
Thank you.
Again, that's all part of this. There's a lot of things out in this industry that are so far off. They do it for one thing, to make money.
Exactly.
Just like going to the movies. You know, there's like I said, there's no demons and devils and all that stuff, but they want you to think there is. Why? Because it sells tickets. Because it gets good ratings. That's why.
Wow. I am glad you said that. I am. But now I want to get into a bit of how can I say? We call this segment weird news.
Yeah. Paranormal news.
Yeah. So
I love weird news.
Yeah, me too. So here's the deal.
Glenwood Cemetery, and they call it the River Oaks Body of the Dead.
Okay.
River Oaks of the Dead.
And they say that whole place and everything is haunted. I mean, to the point that they see ghosts in photos, they see orbs, they hear voices, cold spots, you know.
Walmart's haunted.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. And it says
everywhere you go is haunted. Everywhere.
Wow.
Right.
Some spirit want to be seen and not others don't. So
exactly. And then it says that they had a groundskeeper that was murdered, right? Like in 1977. And they say he still to this day tends those grounds. Now, that's amazing to me, and it's very weird. But my question is to you, though, like, when you hear stuff like that, do it kind of make you want to go out and see if it's true? I mean, have you ever done anything like that?
No, I don't have to go out and see anywhere to see spirit, because I just see them. As soon as I have to do is close my eyes, and I can see them everywhere. But those ones, I went to a place one time. A guy wanted to check out his home. He was going to turn into a bed and breakfast. And when I got there at nighttime, I did it so I could see better. I closed my eyes, and all I could see was farm animals around me, and a guy standing there in overalls, and his name was John, and he was still tending to his animals, but he was upset that I was there because he knew who I was, and he knew that I would try to cross some of them over, and I did. I crossed over about half of them, but the other half stayed, and he was happy that they stayed. But yes, they're just everywhere. Sometimes they don't want to cross over, and they will just stay here because they just want to stay here, and they don't, because they know there's a chance that they might have to come back again. Because when you stand up out of your body, you get all the perfect memories of your lifetime and all the other previous lifetimes. And at that point, if you know you've been here 26, 27, 28 times, you might not want to come back again, because there's a chance you may have to. So bored. They just stay here. So yeah, they just continue on living their life as they are, because it's still them.
Right.
Wow. That's Paranormal Houston.
That is
We got plenty of stories like this story I have here.
Yeah.
Okay. The 32-story Niels Esperson building on Travis Street downtown. It's a historic building. It was built by Niels Esperson, the two people that were married. It houses banks, oil companies, different type of businesses. And the staff and visitors report shadow figures, the feeling of being watched, objects moving on their own.
Sure,
and
they're not moving around.
The disembodied sound of sobbing.
I like that. See, Dan, can you speak on that one? See, the idea, and concept of someone being dead and still sobbing, right? That is sad. That would be right really up your alley. Like that's somebody you really want to get in touch with, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, no, not necessarily, because those people there, they are still feeling pain, anger, sorrow, grief, and guilt, and they chose to hang on to that. And because they choose to hang on to that, that just may want to be one of the reasons they don't want to cross over. My job is to cross them over. If they want to complain to me or cry to me about things that really are nothing because they just chose to hang on to that stuff, then I cannot help them. My job is to cross them over and get them where they can let go of that stuff and then move forward. But if they're hanging out here crying about things, that was their choice to do that. Everyone, you choose to either go into the light or not, and they have an opportunity to go into the light anytime they want to, but they just choose not to.
Wow.
And so I ask them if they want to cross over. And if they don't want to cross over, there's nothing that I can do at that point. Just like if I asked you to go step into the middle of traffic and you said, no, I don't want to do that. Well, then it would be the same thing because I can't make you do it. You have to do it if you want to do it.
Ah, see. Okay. You know, because like in
But
movies.
Just like when they see the building, they talk about disembodied voices and disembodied. You know what? When you die, you're going to be disembodied. Mm-hmm. Everyone is. It's just they put these terms and they put these labels on everything to make it sound spooky. Everybody becomes this. Every single person becomes this. You just do. And you have many times before. You're just here back in a body again. But the buildings and all that stuff, spirits don't even see the buildings. They see it, but they just see a frame of it. They're not walking through walls. They're just walking. There's no time and space there.
Well, what about our listeners that says that they're being haunted by an evil spirit that's trying to do them harm? Is there like something that they can do for that? Like, do you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Stop being scared of it. That's the only way you can. All you have to do.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. It's easy. It's easy for anybody to do. It's just like if you've got, say one of you guys were an alcoholic and I was your friend and I'd say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take you to AA and I will keep you away from the alcohol and I'll do all this stuff for you. Mm-hmm. But until you choose to stop drinking, no matter what I say and do, isn't going to make a difference.
Right. Well, everything I mean, if you see a guy with his head missing, it's kind of hard to be not be afraid of that.
Well, why would you be afraid of it? It's just somebody without a head. That's all.
Yeah.
So what?
Well, if you put it like
it's just something.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
You know,
you just have to look at it differently. You just have to go, oh, I mean, okay.
You got this motherfucker with no head again.
Yeah. Well, he's not bleeding.
Right.
Well, because now he's a spirit. So, you know.
Right.
But he's projecting that to you.
Right.
Because he wants you to feel a certain way.
Wow.
But that's not what he looks like there, because there you're not walking around headless. Because they are pure energy, they make themselves look this way in order to do one thing, to produce fear. From you. And then that's in turn, that's what they feed off of.
Wow.
Because they are negative energies and they live in this negative place, they need energy. You know, so not everyone there who doesn't cross over is negative, but a lot of them are. But they feed off of negative energy. They don't get enough of it over there, so they come into this one. And because why? Because we are easy to scare.
Okay.
Because people here like to be scared because they think it's fun.
Well, let me ask you this. Okay, so here in Houston, we supposedly have a lot of historic places that are haunted because of the history there. Now,
no, everything's haunted.
Everything's
everything.
Haunted.
The whole entire world is haunted.
So you don't think? So you don't think there's certain places that might be more have more of a chance to be haunted, maybe because there was tragedy there, or
yeah, but again, again, when those spirits pass away, they have a choice. They can either cross over or not, and if they want to hold on to that pain and anger and sorrow and grief and guilt and all that stuff, again, that's just their choice.
Well, maybe that's a human thing.
The misconception of it is we've been taught something else. We've been taught that everybody who's there is living this tortured life there, or they are so. They're not. None of them are actually feeling any pain whatsoever.
Well, maybe okay. Listen to this. Okay, I know you've heard of groupthink. So maybe one of these dead people or whatever is feeling this sorrow, and maybe he passed it on to everyone that died in that area. Like one place, Jefferson Davis Hospital here in Houston. You know, it's supposed.
Oh, absolutely. They can do that. They can make you try to feel bad as well. But again, here's the thing: you have a thinking mind, and it's up to you to choose if you're going to listen to that spirit or not. Same way with positive spirit who are helping you make decisions every day. But you have free will to decide if you're going to listen and do what it says or not.
Okay, I get it.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
Just the movies and TV want you to think otherwise. It's just not that way.
So you're saying that an Indian burial ground wouldn't be more susceptible to be
because
haunted?
when you leave your body, you're not in the body when it's being buried.
Okay.
You're gone.
Yeah.
And do they hang out in cemeteries all the time? No. Do you hang out in a cemetery all day long? Because they don't.
No.
When you leave the body, wherever it is you leave, when you die, who dies in a cemetery? Nobody. That's where they bury the body. You're not in the body anymore. You're gone.
I've actually had a paranormal experience in a cemetery before.
Oh, sure. They're around, but like I said, you can go to Walmart and find spirit. You can go to a gas station. You can go to McDonald's and find spirit.
Yeah,
They're everywhere.
I think my experience at the cemetery was more about the land and not the cemetery. Because
it's about you.
Okay, because what I heard was like Civil War soldiers.
Oh, sure.
In the cemetery.
They're around. Again, they just when you leave your body, you are still you. The thing about being a spirit here on the earthbound side is when you pass away, and if you remain earthbound, then you remain the age that you are.
Okay.
So if you die at 50 years old, you remain 50. If you die at 30 years old, you remain 30. If you die at 6 years old, I see babies all the time. You become smarter at that point, and you are very conscious of everything around you. And sometimes they want to leave, and sometimes they don't. It's just, again, it's up to them. It's hard to fathom that a baby could make that type of decision. But they do, because it's still a soul, and that soul had been here many times before. So it's very intelligent. We don't see that part because it gets taught to us on TV that it's a baby. It's just not. It's just a total different thing at that point. It's a soul that's been here many, 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 many times.
Okay, Mr.
And when you pass away, you get all the memories back from all the other times that you've been here. So you are very intelligent at that point.
Okay.
So what TV and movies puts out there is completely and totally false. It's just not that way. And it's all, again, it's a choice.
Okay, Mr. Jackson, I want to ask you.
Sure.
Well, I believe this, that a lot of our listeners is going to really enjoy this, and they're going to probably most likely request for you to come back on. Would you be up to actually coming back on our show?
I'll talk to you guys anytime you want me to, because I enjoy talking to you guys.
Great. We enjoy talking to you too.
Definitely. Okay, so listeners, you hear that, right? Mr. Daniel Jackson, he will,
if your listeners want to actually send in questions for you to ask, I'll answer those.
Okay.
Perfect.
Awesome.
And I just said your name right now, and I'm a big sci-fi buff. So Mr. Daniel Jackson is the doctor on SG-1.
I know he is, and I hear everybody says, "Hey, do you ever watch that show?" I go, "SG-1." They go, "Yeah, Daniel Jackson." I go, "Yeah, it's not me, but yeah, I go with it because I used to watch the show. I used to watch it with my dad all the time when he was still here." Yeah,
there you go. Okay, so you guys, Mr. Daniel Jackson will be back again, right? And he will answer questions. You can also email him in. I would say email us at whatever, but guess what? We have that great soundbite.
Oh yeah.
So we don't need to say that anymore. So I want to tell everyone out there, have a safe and happy Halloween.
All Hallows Eve.
Okay. And I'm signing out of here. I'm JH.
And I'm your moderator, Trinae Johnson.
And this is your anchorman, Dave R, signing off.
Peace.
Hey.
Brought to you by DSB Media.
Would you like to advertise on the Urban Paranormal Podcast? Send us an email at urbanparanormal13@gmail.com. Or if you just have a story to tell, send us an email. Help support the Urban Paranormal Podcast by sending your donations to $DSB Media on Cash App. That's $DSB Media on Cash App.